Greetings, my loves. I'm Raining Moon, and this is Oak Moon Grove. In this video today, I want to share with you some plants that you can add to your diet. Right now, with the coronavirus going on, we are limited in some ways with when it comes to grocery shopping, and many of us are trying to go to the stores less if possible, which is probably better, so that this doesn't spread too much. So the less the better. And but then you're kind of stuck at home with more of like long lasting canned and dry food, which is okay, but it is really, really good for your health to get a lot of the fresh greens that will help to boost your immune system, and they're packed with nutrition. What's really good about this time of year, because we're right now in spring, the spring equinox just passed, and in the spring, you have all of these plants that are just bursting forth, and they're just packed, gem packed with energy, that green, vibrant energy. And so it's such a blessing from Mother Earth that all of this is popping up. And I'm going to take you around into my yard just to show you the few weeds that may be popping up that you could add to your diet to supplement what you're eating, to add more of that green energy, nutritional value. So I'm going to take you with me now. Okay, my loves. So we're out in my front yard here, and I want to show you this first plant, which is actually chickweed. See these beautiful, they're so tiny little flowers just growing amongst the leaf litter here. And just to show you more, we have this long stem and these tiny little white flowers on top that actually look like they have more petals than they actually really do have, because the petals are split. See here? No, this camera isn't really great, but so you can see these tiny little white petals on top, and how the leaves actually grow on this plant. They're growing opposite of each other. So one on each side, you can see that there. And I would focus more on not necessarily, this one started to break, so I'm gonna eat that one, kind of chop it there. I would kind of just give this plant more of like a haircut and trim off the top, instead of, you don't want to pull from the root. You never want to pull from the root on any plants, because you're going to injure the plant. And I would just eat this one. Just eat the flower right off the top and then eat some of these leaves. I find the stems to be a little harder to digest. But these plants, chickweed was actually fed to convalescent people in hospitals that couldn't move around, that were sick. It's really highly nutritious. It has a cooling energy to it that is great for the digestion tract. So people are having a lot of stress and worry right now, and it can upset their stomach. So this would be a really good one. You can just trim these off, put some in a salad, put some on a sandwich, just to get some of those extra spring greens. They taste really nice, very earthy without being bitter. So this is one of my favorite plants, and it's also medicinal. The next one, right next to it, is dead nettle. Don't let the dead in the word scare you. These are, can you see it there? They have these little purple flowers on them. They have a square stem, because they're in the mint family. And leaves are purple on the top, going to green on the bottom with these tiny purple flowers. And this one's a really good one too. I wouldn't necessarily just bite off the top. because, see, it has these hairs underneath. So the hairs can be a little hard to digest. So when gathering these, snipping a couple, you're not going to go for the stem, you're just going to go for the actual leaves and the flowers without, pick them off. Don't eat those furry bits underneath because that could be hard on your digestion. But this is another really highly nutritious, and it's coming up and growing everywhere. Just make sure for anything that you are foraging that you are 100% sure that it is what you think it is, because a lot of things have lookalikes that can be poisonous. So get to really know your herbs. But this is one that's coming up everywhere that's really nutritious. And it tastes good too. Let's move on. Okay, this is dandelion. Dandelion greens, spring greens coming up. And I did a whole video on this that I can link below. And also too, remember, you want to, when you're doing any kind of foraging, you want to do it with honor and respect. Not taking too much as to really hurt the plant so that the plant will keep giving. You know what I mean? And do it with thanks to the plant, to Mother Earth. But dandelion greens, these are kind of bitter. But they're really, really good for you because bitter things actually help our gastric juices flowing, and their dandelion is really, really good for the liver specifically, which is detox. Our liver is really a filter for our bodies. So this one is a good one, excellent spring green to be consuming. You can add this to also snip off some, eat it just straight up as it is. You could even saute it lightly and with a little bit of garlic and oil if you like. Add it to a sandwich, add it to other existing greens, and these young ones that are small are less bitter than the big leaves once they get a little older. So this is the excellent time to trim some and consume them. Let's move on. Now, this is not necessarily for foraging. I just wanted to share this beautiful flowering fruit tree here. Lots of plums and cherries flowering at this time. Just so stunning. Look at these gorgeous flowers. It's so uplifting. This is why I really recommend getting outside. It's really healthy for you and very uplifting and very grounding, which is another big part of staying healthy, especially at this time. But what a gorgeous sight. Beautiful blue sky behind it. And the smell, I wish this was smell-o-vision and you can smell how amazingly fragrant these are when you're standing underneath this tree. Just wanted to share that with you. Okay, now this last one I am showing you is pine. All sorts of pine. Pitch pines, white pines, there's many different kinds of pine trees. And if you're looking for vitamin C to boost your immune system, pine needles, pine needle tea is the way to go. And these drop their needles, so you don't actually have to pull even off the tree, because a lot of people think that pines don't shed their leaves like other trees. It's just that other trees will drop them all in the fall, and the pine kind of sheds all year. Like pine needles will come down. So you can find some that are on the ground, and what you do is you take some of these green pine needles, you boil some water up, you chop them up into pieces, and then you put them into the boiling water. Don't put them in cold water and then boil them unless you want an expectorant, because that's what will happen. So it's more of, ooh, it won't focus. Having the water already hot and then letting that steep and cook in there for like 10 minutes, and then you can drain it and drink the pine needle tea. And the pine needle tea is actually really delicious anyways. It has a kind of like lemony taste to it. You could add ginger to it if you want, but this has a lot of vitamin C, which is really great for boosting the immune system. So that's another one that I recommend, and they tend to grow all over the place. especially here in New Jersey. And we're back in my house. Okay, my loves. So I hope that you're well and that, you learned something from this video. And there's so much out there from Mother Earth for us. She does care for us. We are children of the earth. I wish you serenity, love, and grace. Namaste.